All right, today we're going to be talking about the different polling rates among different college levels. So I'm going to start us off with undergraduate versus graduate polling rates. As you can see, my top graph compares the two directly in terms of percentage of voters versus enrolled. But let me start with voting is a very important aspect of everyday American life. We vote on all sorts of things, from local to large-scale government stuff that affects our everyday life. Um, However, I want to go over the recent polling data from the University of Texas at San Antonio. So I focused more specifically with the bottom graph on undergraduate voting through from 2016 to 2020. So let's start with 2016. It was in 2016, there was 42% of enrolled undergraduate students voted, compared to 2018 with a slight increase of 1% with just 43%. However, there was a huge increase from 2018 to 2020 undergraduate voters, uh, with 60% voting in 2020. And from 2020 to 2018, that's a 26% increase on the voters. So you might be thinking, what's the sudden increase? What's the sudden jump? What could be causing that? And the way I see it is there's more political issues today or recent years that are causing more younger generations to vote and get out there and exercise their right to vote. Because usually you'll see, especially with the top graph that has graduates compared to undergraduates, is that the older generations tend to vote more consistently than the younger generations. However, I believe that's changing, especially you can see with the graphs and how the voter rates are increasing over the past years. Yeah.
I did first years at UTSA and UT, and this is just people who are classified as freshmen. So the data is drawn from 2016 to 2020. And as you can see, for UT, they have more people enrolled and more people voted. And that's just due to the number of students enrolled. UT has about 52,000 students, while UTSA has about a little over 34,000 students. And shapes the future as it represents a say for those in the community. And I know at our school and probably many other college campuses, they encourage students to vote and they make it easily and like accessible for students. We have many places on campus that let us vote. And for the rate, you can see it slowly increase over the years, the rate percentage for both UTSA and UT. And the change, the PP, is just the rate percentage if you add it all up together. And it was up 16 for UTSA and for UT 17 from the years 2016 to 2020. And this growth of voters, I think, will continue to increase, and this will represent the interests of all people to foster an ethical and inclusive democratic system. And yeah.
Okay. For my visual presentation, I chose the second year student voters, and it's over UT and UT Austin and San Antonio. And from this narrow slice of information, it seems that the students at UT Austin put a higher emphasis on voting compared to UT San Antonio. And I think a rivalry between schools would be good to encourage more voting in elections. As Figure 1 demonstrates, as second-year students at UT Austin have been leading their counterparts at San Antonio in a few metrics. They have more second-year students enrolled total, and they have a higher percentage of those students enrolled who are actually voting. UT Austin's percentage of students voting also increased by a greater percent than San Antonio's from 2016 to 2020, which is impressive because San Antonio's increased by 17% and Austin still beat us. It's also worth noting that the year 2020 had the highest year or the highest percentage of participation by a wide margin, where the other 2 years were pretty similar in terms of percentage. And it would be interesting to dig deeper to find out like why the schools have such a different statistics and showing at the polls. Maybe it's just different attitudes from the city or like from the people who actually live at the cities, or maybe the student or like the faculty. And I think an anonymous survey would be interesting, asking like students like why or why not they vote, or why they think their city votes more than the other one. And it would also be interesting to see data concerning which city like accepts students from out of country more. Maybe that would explain the difference in polling. And I would like to reemphasize that I think rivalry between the schools would be good for voting, regardless of like the reasons why.
I'll present the upper level in UTSA and between upper level and UT Austin. On the left side is the graph in the UTSA, which is enrolled years. There is an increase from 2016, 2018, and 2020. In voting bars indicate the students who voted in those years. This number increased from 2016 to 2018 and a little more in 2020. In the rating bar, it tracking the voting percentage. Indicates that not only more students vote in absolute numbers, but the proportion of enrolled students who also increased significantly. In the right side, which is the graph of UT Austin, we can see the numbers between UT and UT Austin. There's an increase in enrollment from 2016 to 2018, but this is a slight dip into 2020. In voting represent the number of students who vote. The trend is upward from 2016 to 2020. Then it's rating, which is the percentage of the enrolled students who vote, not the voting rate. The significant increase from 2016 to 2018 and continued rise in 2020. In conclusion, upper level is greater in UT Austin, as you can see on the graph.
For mine, I did my charts based off of voting rates by fields of study. Because, so in both of the graphs at UT and UTSA, there's been an overall positive trend in voting, which is good to see because, for example, computer science has the lowest voting rate compared to legal professions and journalism. And that's because computer science isn't something that directly relates to politics. But the fact that it's been increasing shows that people are understanding more that voting can affect their career. For example, for computer science, their vote can help impact decisions regarding advancement of technology and policies surrounding ethical use of computer science innovations. And from 2016, it rose from 59% to 60% in 2020. And legal professions and journalism are both fields of study that directly are concerned with politics, because students pursuing legal studies should vote in order to have a say in the laws and policies that relate to their job and advocate for their clients and fulfill their civic duty. And for journalists, voting is a way to influence the political and social environment that they work in and advocate for free and responsible media. At UT and UTSA, there's a 35.2% increase in voters in computer science, 32.7% for legal studies, and 40.4% for journalism. And this positive trend demonstrates that as more people are voting, more people are able to utilize the knowledge that they learned in their respective field to make educated decisions while voting.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening to our presentation.